Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I feel like I just got hit by a fucking bus.
That's what you get for stalking.
No, I mean, truly. I just feel like you should stay out of the streets. The mean streets of Manhattan is nothing to joke about.
No, never back up into a street, I think is probably like the headline. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. You'll probably get hit by a bus.
Probably. The
yeah.
likelihood is very high.
Yeah.
Especially in New York, because the thing is that, like, I mean, we've talked about this a bunch, but I worked in the city for nearly 10 years. I cross the streets all the time. And my theory was, if they hit me, they hit me. Like, I'm going. Now,
Yeah.
I didn't, like, not look when I was crossing the street.
Well, you certainly didn't back up into the street either.
No, I never walked backwards in Manhattan. That would, like, I mean, there's so many fucking idiots walking the city because, like, literally they have their heads in the skies. I'm just like, fucking move forward, you idiot whores. So, like, I'm gonna say that this is like 80% Todd Mulcahy's fault.
Oh, this is like 100% Todd Mulcahy's fault. Like, this guy has the most unearned confidence that I've like pretty much ever seen on a character, and we'll obviously get into it. These two episodes, if you're not sure what we're talking about, we watched 2 episodes, 13 and 14, Todd Mulcahy part 1 and 2. These 2 episodes were fucking insanity. And like, we have now hit the point where Felicity is like making fun of itself, which I appreciate, because when we started the show, I was like, Felicity is a full-on stalker. Like, why is she our main character?
Yeah.
But now we're to the point where we're like, it's a bit meta. She knows that she stalked Ben, and so she's willing to admit it. And I like that about this show. I like that it was willing to be like, yes, Felicity, our main character, was also a stalker, but she has learned the error of her ways, and karma is a big old bitch.
Yeah.
And in the form of Todd Mulcahy.
She's repenting for her sins, and she knows it. She's on the apology train. She asked for forgiveness, but
yes.
But it's not all about Todd Mulcahy. Even though he does rule the world, we have a lot of other storylines in these 2 episodes that I felt like were really interesting, or kind of almost interesting. Namely the Julie storyline, which obviously we were very excited to see Julie take this internship. And I am disappointed to see that it's ended so quickly, but I don't think that this is like a period in the sentence for this storyline.
No, certainly not. So for those of you who are here weekly, we're going to take these ones a little differently. We usually just go like chronological through the episode, but there's like so much to get into, and we don't want to be here for 3 hours. You don't want to be here for 3 hours.
No, today's the Super Bowl. Are you gonna have? Are you
You
gonna have?
gotta watch football.
Are you gonna have soup on the Super Bowl?
No,
Okay,
I'm not really
you
a soup
heard it
person.
here first,
Yeah.
folks. No soup.
Um, but yeah, so we have a lot to talk about. So we're gonna kind of take it like storyline by storyline. And yeah, let's start with Julie because I feel like I got a little duped, Sarah. Like I had said, I had a little bit of apprehension when Julie says this rando on the internet just says that this lady's my mom. And I was like, how are you trusting this rando on the internet? Like, what are
Mhm.
his credentials? What proof does he have? And then I saw Julie's mom, and they did such a good job with casting that I was like, oh, okay, that does look like Julie. Like, sure, great. And so they did dupe me a little bit with the visual of it all. However, it's not exactly, I'm not being like blown over with this storyline of, yeah, it turns out this woman is not Julie's mother like she thought.
Yeah. So I guess what we find out is that you can't believe everything that you read or hire on the internet,
Right.
including PI credentials.
Right.
I don't know. Like, let's not bury the lead. Like, are you confident that Caroline is not Julie's mom?
I feel like yes. I think that her reaction to all of, to the tape that Julie sends her and the conversation that she has with Julie, she seemed very sincere. I I mean, I guess also for the show, like how do you turn this back around to then be like, actually it is her mom, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have a hard time believing her,
But you'd be like,
Caroline.
DNA test right now.
I mean, kinda, because I feel like, maybe she's like she has a family, she has children, she's established in her career. Like, it's not impossible for me to think that a woman that gave up a pregnancy is denying it 18 years later. But
Yeah.
also, I did not talk about the biggest news in news history.
Biggest
Um,
news in news history.
yeah, so in the last
Please share.
episode in Friends, when Julie's recording the note to is her name Caroline or Carol? Caroline.
Um, Good question.
Well,
Who cares really? It doesn't matter probably.
Caroline. I would call her Caroline.
I think it is Carol, but I'll look and I'll let you
Okay.
know. It is Carol.
Julie announced to Carol that her birthday was March 8th. Now, this is important to me because
Yes.
my birthday is March 9th, which
Right.
means that our good gal Julie is a Pisces queen.
And I think this tracks for me. Does this track for you as well?
Yeah, the like artistic side of it, she seems like pretty sensitive. She seems like a people pleaser.
Very
Obviously,
caring.
she was
Yeah.
putting Felicity's feelings first before she like initiated anything with Ben
Mhm.
eventually. And I also think that like the vagueness makes sense as well because
Mhm.
like she wasn't the thing that like Julie needs to work on is like articulating and communicating when she has strong feelings about something.
Yeah.
Like she should have just said to Felicity, fuck off. Like this is none of your business. I like Ben and you've never gotten with Ben. Just like leave me alone. Or like at least say like I really want to pursue things or I don't know, just even like spoken up about anything. And
Mhm.
she did not. So yeah, like I do think that she is a Pisces queen. Like I will happily accept her into my clan with Dawson Leary
Mhm.
and her. I forget when Dawson's birthday was, but I definitely think that his birthday was in March as well.
I do not remember, but I will trust you on
I'm
that.
pretty confident he was a Pisces
Um,
king.
yeah. But
Dawson Leary's birthday. And not the Sweet 16 birthday. Yeah, he was born on March 14th.
there you go.
So yeah, I will accept all these people into my clan, into the whiny baby clan.
Mhm.
Come to me, my children.
Yeah. And so like poor Julie, right? Like she ends up like applying for this like internship job thing and she gets it. And then and she's always like, "Oh, I should tell her. I should send them the what is it, tape or whatever that I recorded for her." However, I just want to get to know her like a little bit first. I don't it feels very like she's like, "Well, if I get to know her first and then I send it to her, she can't be like this girl's a weirdo because she knows me."
I feel like
So
it tracks, but also it's just such a bad idea. But
yeah.
also I get it.
Yeah, and it's even worse when like, you know, Carol seems really kind and she is we talk about this a lot. I don't know why there's always architects on television and all of this stuff. We talked about it last podcast. But Carol seems like a really nice person in that she will have lunch with Julie, who is like the newest employee, you know, like doesn't need to do that. And she has like multiple conversations with Julie about her interests and all of that. And so they do seem to be connecting. And so you think this is going to be like a happily ever after story, right? And Julie finally sends the tape to her. She tries to get it back, but she can't. And it turns out, yeah, Carol says, I'm so sorry. I'm not your mother.
Yeah. I think it makes it
But
harder the fact that Carol was a nice person and a good
yeah.
person, even somebody that had been working there for a while. I think her name was like Tina. Even Tina really liked her. And
Mhm.
okay, I know I've said that all architects are miserable, horrible human beings. And it's
Mhm.
not true, but Carol seems like a really nice person, and I think that it makes it harder for Julie to accept that because especially because of the common interest, and also, fact that this woman has a family already. She has 2 children that she loves, she has a husband. I think, like, there was a world where Julie was seeing herself fit into this equation,
Yeah.
and I think it's, like, really hard to let that fantasy go, and I think that when she talks to Carol and she's like, it wasn't me, like, I never had a baby. I never had a baby that I put up for adoption, that is. Like, you see, like, Julie go through, like, the different stages of, like, grief, like, she has, like, the denial stage, like, "No, like, we have so much in common, like,
Mhm.
you play guitar and I could play guitar," and, like,
Yeah.
the the, um the face that she makes when she realizes how, um, like, small that is on the grand scheme of things when, like, and how
Yeah.
silly she kind of felt in that moment when that was, like, her big evidence. It was, like, a little heartbreaking because, like, she
Yeah.
wanted it so bad.
Yeah, and I this is why I do think that, like, this is the honest truth and we're not gonna get a, like, gotcha moment later because Carol says, like, "I don't know what to tell you, like, I'm really sorry, like, I wish I could help you. I'm not your mother, but, like, good luck, like, I really hope you find her." All of this seemed so genuine from Carol. It
Mhm.
didn't seem like someone who is trying to hide something. And like you said, like, yes, she does have reasons for, like, if she did want to hide it, right? She has a family, she has a career, she has all these other things. But it didn't seem like that from Carol. But I just ended up feeling so bad for Julie because, you know, I was worried this something like this would happen if you like just find some random PI online and
Yeah.
they don't give you any evidence as to why this woman is your mother. And we have like Ben trying to like mediate, you know, kind of tamper her expectations a little bit, but he is really at a loss for like how to help her as well, and he's going through his own thing. So it
Yeah.
really is, it's tough for Julie, and certainly isn't the end of this storyline obviously, but I want to know, maybe we should get our guesses in. um how long do we think until Julie actually finds her birth mother?
Maybe season 2. Like, I don't think that this is gonna be resolved this season.
I was gonna say I think it could be like a season finale sort of thing where it's like she sees her birth mother from afar in the season finale, but she doesn't actually interact with her
Yeah.
then.
How are you feeling towards Ben during this whole situation? Because, like, obviously, I felt like really frustrated with him throughout it because even though he's trying to, like, like tamper expectations and soften the blow. I think that like once again, me and my queen Julie Pisces, like I think that like it's kind of reminds me of something that like maybe you would do for me and I would have resistance towards it because I want to be and Julie wanted to be living in our fantasies of like this is all going to work out. This is totally my mom. Like everything's going to be okay. I'm so excited. And like somebody like you or Ben are saying like, look, like as a person that I love you and I care for you, like I don't want you to be like hurt by all of this.
Yeah, I think beyond the first slip up that Ben has, I think he did a pretty good job. Like the first slip up being he sees that she's applying for the job and he like gets on her case about like this is a terrible idea and he's going through his own and he like immediately senses like wow, that was not great what I just did. I need to go fix things with Julie. And he says like I'm going through some stuff with my dad, like he cut me off. I'm really stressed and my own relationship with my father shouldn't impact like, you know, what's going on with you and your family. But overall, I thought he did a decent job. Like I thought Ben had a pretty good 2 episodes given that he starts out like kind of getting on Julie's case and really in financial peril
Yeah.
essentially. But
Yeah.
he does work things out and I really like we now get so not only does Felicity work at Dean and DeLuca, but now Ben has a job at Dean and DeLuca and his
Yeah.
interaction with Javier,
Oh,
which we have
so
to
good.
apologize and say that Javier should have been in the rankings last episode. We deeply
Mhm.
apologize. He will
Yeah,
be
I
in
think
them
that
the next.
Javier would have made my like number 2 position
Oh, 1,000%.
if I after Julie, if I had remembered him. But it was so funny. So yeah, we see for Ben, his dad cut him off, which I don't really understand why.
It just seems I mean, I think it's basically the answer is, like, his dad's an asshole. They
Yeah.
probably got in an argument over
Yeah.
something, and his dad was like, "That's it. You're done." And
Mhm.
unlike a lot of the other characters, Ben lives in an apartment. He does not live in the dorms. And so you're paying month-to-month rent, which is probably cheaper overall than dorms are, but dorms you're getting financial aid or student loans to help pay for. So he needs money pronto.
Right. Because he talked to what's his face?
Sean.
Sean, and Sean owns this property.
Yeah, this is
Um,
so fascinating to me that I guess I always assumed Sean was like a college student, but it seems like he owns the building they live in, and the reason he's able to kind of like pay for it is because he has subletters. You know, they have roommates, which I
yeah,
guess after the robbery situation, the other two moved out.
which is probably a good idea. You know
Yeah.
what I think? Like I'm now thinking that Sean is like 28 years old.
Oh wow, that's a lot older.
Yeah, no, I'm like feeling like he is. But
He
anyway,
could be.
so he's like a decent guy because he's like, you know what? Like you can go like a month without paying rent and I'll cover you. It's okay. Or like you can be late. And then Ben promises to get on top of it and get a job. He asks Felicity if he can get a job at Dean DeLuca, and she sets
Mhm.
up a interview with Javier
And
and
this
like,
is Javier's wet dream.
oh
And the
yeah,
reason is because, listen, we all know he hired Felicity because Felicity is the drama, right? She brings the drama. And can you
right.
imagine Felicity approaching Javier and like this whole conversation and her being like, I have someone I want to like refer in. It actually is the guy that I stalked like when I first got here, and he
Yeah.
needs a job and he's actually like really good looking. And Javier is like, that's all I need to hear. He's hired. I don't care if he worked at I don't care where he worked previously. He could work, have never have any job experience. He's hired.
He's hired. But I my favorite part of these 2 episodes, I think, was when what's his face? When Ben was like, "So do I have the job?" And Javier's like, No, I'm sorry." And Ben's like, "Really?" He's like, "No, I'm kidding. I love you, of course." And it was like
Yeah.
so funny. He's like, "I love you. Of course you have the job."
Yeah.
Uh
I just love ugh, Javier. Like, he's the worst boss. For
but
like
is
so
he
many
though?
reasons.
Is he though? I don't know. Like,
Well,
have
but
you
we talked about this though. He is that boss from when we were teenagers who's like friends
Mhm.
with all the teenagers and
Yep.
a little bit too close to them, a little bit too involved in their drama.
Yep.
Like
Colleen
all he
Bologna, I'm looking at you. Yep.
yeah, I love him giving Ben a hard time about Ben not wearing the hat, which is part of the uniform. And Ben, just like get over yourself. I'm sorry. This was the thing from Ben that annoyed me the most these 2 episodes was the fact that he like would not just wear his hat.
But I know, like, I know this guy. Like, I know, like,
Oh, we
once
all
again,
know
from
this
they
guy.
just
Yeah.
don't wear all the uniform, and the
Ugh.
manager that's a little too close to him and is like, please put on the uniform. And then they laugh about it because they know that they're not going to do it. I know this guy.
Yeah.
So also, just like also the fact that like Javier was like asking Ben for fitness advice, and like Ben was like a little
Oh my
too honest, but
God.
Javier loved it. I think it's going to be a very funny dynamic to see Ben at Dean and DeLuca, because that's going to cause issues in the future, especially with Noel, because Noel's such a jealous boy. And
Ugh.
it's going to drive him crazy. Like, Noel already asked about it and he's bothered by it. But also,
Yeah.
they also are starting to form like a little bit of a bromance that's like so suspicious. But because Noel comes to Ben's work and asks how was Felicity in high school, and we know that Ben like did not talk to Felicity in high school at
Yeah.
all. But Ben does make a very good mocha, evidently.
Yeah, this whole thing is so funny to me. I especially love when Javier's like, "Okay, tell me, be honest. Do I look fat? Am I fat?" Like, and I mean, obviously, this doesn't, don't ever. If someone ever asks that, the answer is literally always no. Okay, like the
Right.
answer is always no.
But
You
Ben was
never
like,
say yes.
yeah. Ben was like, yeah, a little bit.
I do like Ben saying, "Are you trying to lose weight?" Cuz like I know some like healthy eating tips and stuff that might help. Like that I thought was nice. But I love Ben saying like, "Oh, the key is low carbs." And Javier's like, "Oh, carbs are my worst enemy." And I love how he knows Julie too. Like that's how you know Javier is entrenched in the drama when
Yeah.
Julie walks in and he's like, "Julie's here." And I'm like, "Oh my god, Javier, you are in too much people's business. You just know
Yeah.
everything."
Well, they did spend Thanksgiving together.
Oh, that's fair. I forgot about that. He was at Thanksgiving. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ben has like a decent episode, but we should talk about Sean's invention while we're on the topic of Ben, because
Mm-hmm.
Sean, first of all, we know that his dispensers, his like vending machines for what are they, instant cameras, what are they
Hospital.
called?
Oh yeah, instant. Yeah. The
Throwaway cameras.
disposable
That's it.
cameras
Yeah, it's
are
still in
taking
business.
off.
Maternity ward, excellent spot to put them, I
I
think.
think that this is his best business venture by far. I'm like
I think so
very,
too.
very impressed by how smart this is.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah.
Now, what does not work for me is this cursed invention of pre-milked cereal.
This is fucking vile. This
So
is so
it
disturbing.
is cereal that is like entrenched in powdered milk, and then all you have to do is add water to it. This reminds me of Tommy, our friend Tommy.
Yes.
His invention was green milk, which is just leftover milk from vile,
Yeah.
terrible invention,
Yeah.
awful idea. Adding water, it just seemed so disgusting,
Yeah.
and it looked moldy, and I would say that this is on the bottom of the rankings for me.
This is so disgusting, especially because I'm going to admit, Sarah, that when I saw him stirring it for the first time, I thought he was making like macaroni salad. Like it doesn't look like cereal, okay? And why do people need their cereal pre-milked?
For
Like
convenience, he
okay, but
says.
now the problem with it though is like nowadays they have those like cups where you could keep your cereal and the milk that it goes into like separate until you want to combine them so that your milk doesn't get soggy, which seems like maybe what he was trying to do, but it
No.
just is so disgusting. And the fact that like Ben and Felicity couldn't even swallow it to me is like, well, that's like the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it was vile. I would not try this. It just seems disgusting.
Yeah.
So a big F, like this would not make it to the next round of Shark Tank. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. So that's Sean. He's still working on his his inventions. But let's shift gears and talk about Elena and Blair this episode. Because we kind of get a little bit of an ending to all of this, right? Where Blair, because last we saw Elena saw her friend Tara and Blair together, but like
Mhm.
she hadn't said anything to them. Like she was looking from afar. And Elena comes in hot this episode, and I was here for it because she's threatened to kick people's ass so many times, and it happened, and I was very excited about it because Blair comes up and he's like, "Hey, I left you a bunch of messages. Like, why aren't you talking to me? You me." And she warns him. She's like, "Get away from me. Like, walk away right now." And he doesn't, and then she punches him in the face, and it was lovely.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of, I don't blame Blair necessarily for, like, she just basically ignored him. Like, never was like, fuck you, never talking to you again, or like left a note or threw tomatoes at his door or anything. Like, she just ghosted him. So, like,
Mhm.
obviously, if he's gonna see her in the halls, he's gonna be like, what the fuck is up? Like, where did you go? Uh so, but anyway, so like Elena just like probably could have been like, it's over, like we are not talking. Like, I know you cheated on me with my best
Yeah.
friend and it's done. Um, but in terms of like Blair, like he has like the audacity, like he knows what he did wrong. And honestly, like if he got ghosted, then he probably should have like figured it out. Um, I like don't love the fact that Elena's like throwing punches all over the school, but I mean, I mean, like
Totally justified in my opinion here.
he's a dick. He's a dick
Plus,
and he
she's
deserves it, I guess.
also like under the stress of this test coming up, right? Like, obviously, Felicity, it's mostly about Felicity and her
Right.
experiences with like this McGrath exam and all of that. But Elena is also in those classes and also under a lot of pressure to do well here. And so I think like between all this nonsense with Blair, I think she just wants to like put it behind her. And so she hasn't had time to like call him and be like, it's over. Instead, she's just like, I'm just gonna ghost him and maybe he'll get the point of like, I saw you together and we
Mhm.
don't need to even have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, like,
But yeah.
Blair is really just, like, a waste of her fucking time, to be honest with you, especially when she has, like, this big test. So,
Yeah.
that's a really good segue to talk about this testing process in general, because I don't know if I knew that Felicity was still pursuing, being a doctor, because I remember that she was
I
had
think it
that
I
meeting
th-
with the advisor, and the
yeah.
advisor and she was talking about art, and then all this like every single class I've seen Felicity in has been language arts. So I think that I assumed that she was pursuing something
Huh.
in English, but she's fully in this episode says that she is like trying to become a doctor, or at least is taking the classes to become a doctor with Elena.
I guess I thought I mean, like, I think I thought I knew that she was still pursuing being a doctor because of what is it? Finally, the episode finally where she has all these like exams and stuff, and
But the
I,
whole time she just talked about poetry and
that's fair. Yeah, because it was Ben and her had poetry together, right?
and
So
then
I
she
don't.
was like
Yeah.
very knowledgeable with Noel about his literature. I
Mhm.
don't think that I knew that Noel was a graphic artist. Like,
That was brand new information for us, definitely.
yeah, I should have known with the Mac, because like I don't know, you can always just tell. But
Yeah.
anyway, so there's this big seminar that that okay, I think I have this broken down. There usually the seminar happens once a year. There is usually 200 people that apply. Then the top 20 people take get like who ace the test, go to an interviewing process, and then
Yes.
the top 10 of those people get to be in the seminar. And the
That
seminar,
sounds correct to me. Yes.
yeah, oftentimes the seminar gets you published into medical journals, and if you get published into the medical journal, it's very prestigious. and you are very likely to get into your choice of medical school. So it
Right.
is like a very pivotal thing to get into this seminar because it essentially opens up a lot of doors. And then obviously you go to medical school and then you intern and then you get to, oh, like on TikTok, I saw the matching day, the matching day. You've never
No,
heard of this before?
what is is this where you get matched with the school
The specialty,
specialty?
yeah, the specialty that you're doing. So like our friend Alex, he got matched into radiology, and that's like
Right.
how he became a radiologist, and I think it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and so this is like, suffice it to say that this is super, super important, and obviously to Elena, but also to Felicity. And I think the
well,
thing with Felicity is that I think Felicity is a person who, when she like sets her sights on something, right? She's just like, okay, gonna be a doctor. She just puts her head down and powers through that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, she
right.
doesn't stop to think, is this something I love and I've dreamed about doing? Like, or is this just what I'm doing? Like, this is the thing that I'm doing. And so she like, right, the whole episode starts with her like holding her breath until like the second hand gets to the 12, which I've never heard of this as like a superstition thing. But she was like really hopeful that she's going to be able to ace this test and get into the seminar and on and on and on. And it isn't until Todd shows up that she starts rethinking things, because it seems to me, Sarah, that since she's been entrenched in life at NYU and in this relationship with Noel and everything else, she really hasn't thought about art a ton. I just think it's been on
No,
the back burner for her.
I agree, and I did totally forget that she was an artist
Same, there's
in
been so
any
much going on,
capacity. Yeah.
it's hard to remember all of that.
Yeah. So I think it was really interesting throughout because both Felicity and Elena get to the interview process. They are part of the top 20 of the best scorers. And after having like a conversation with Todd about like, oh, like you need to like get back your childlike whimsy. Like, I feel like you're forgetting something. Like, you're just like becoming a doctor because that's what your parents want you to do. Like, you loved art. Felicity goes to the interview and basically, like, to be fair for Felicity, like I feel like she just witnessed somebody literally get hit by a bus. I wish that she would have said to the interviewer, like, I'm not in the best headspace at this moment because of this reason. But she's kind of in this like daze, and she winds up in the interview saying like, I think I want to become an artist, because she is connecting to like what she really like, to what Todd said, like she's like resonating with it. And she basically and then he's like dismisses her, which like I don't blame this guy, because honestly there are about 199 other people that are very confident that they want to become doctors. And for somebody to be like, I don't know if I want this, all right,
Yeah.
like kick it to the curb. And I don't
Yeah.
exactly think it's fair that Felicity eventually gets into the seminar, because I still think that there is probably 9 other people that really wanted to be in the seminar and really, really want to be
Yeah.
doctors that would have loved the spot. And for somebody to be like a little wishy-washy about what they want, like he's not saying like, if you're not in the seminar, then you can't major in like medical shit. I think that most doctors are like in a biology major or something like that.
Yeah.
He's not
They're on
saying
like
that
a
you can't do that,
pre-med path.
but no, like I don't think that you should be in this special seminar that can get you into one of the best medical schools in the country.
Yeah, it's basically because she's the main character, right? That this is still happening for
Yeah.
her. But it's
And if
yeah,
she got in and Elena didn't, I would have burned the whole house down.
oh, definitely. Elena deserves this more than literally anybody else. But yeah, she has like this moment where she's meeting with Dr. McGrath, Professor McGrath, and she's just very unsure. She's just like, I can't remember why I want to be a doctor, which obviously, like you said, is very much like a, okay, on to the next. Like we have 20 people, I had to choose 10. That's 50%. This is an easy one that I can say, nah, we don't, move on to the
Yeah,
next,
I
basically.
would dismiss her.
Yeah. And this is
quickly.
where this was like so jarring for me, these 2 episodes, because to your point, it's like, because of all the interpersonal drama that's been going on, I kind of had forgotten about like what Felicity was actually majoring in, because also for most people, when you're a freshman, you haven't declared yet anyway. Like, you're still new. Like, you're undecided at that point, right? So it hasn't really been something that has been noteworthy for us on the show. And so then to have these 2 episodes where it felt like, oh my God, okay, now Todd shows up, which we're going to get there. We will talk about Todd. We've mentioned his name a few times. We're going to get into the Todd stuff. But for Todd to show up and suddenly her brain is like going in this art direction, and I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting the flip of the switch. We're getting the Felicity is not going to do doctor things. She's not going to pursue medicine. Instead, she's going to go pursue art, and on and on and on. But then by the end of the second episode, we're back on doctor path because of basically I guess Todd's life being saved by modern medicine. And so this is what gets Felicity to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot, it's about the people. The secret is it's about the people. And so yeah, she's just like, I saw a doctor save someone's life, and I realized that that's what I want to do. And again, I do like Sara. I feel like this is very I think this is a little mature of Felicity to say, I like art and I like medicine. I don't have to choose at this moment. Like,
Yeah,
I do.
I agree with that.
It's
I
a
think
very
that
mature thought. I think a lot of
yeah.
us don't feel that way, especially at Felicity's age. We think we have to make this decision now, and it better be the right one, or it could screw up our lives for like ever, which
Yeah.
is horrifying. Again, I will say, putting that much pressure on people that are barely adults, and forcing them to make a decision on quote unquote what they want to do for the rest of their life is like impossible and way too much stress for a person to handle at that age, or any age really. But yeah, it's very fascinating to me that like we start this 2-parter with like the prospect of Felicity bouncing back to art. She spends all this time in the art studio, which I don't know if you got any vibes, but I will say when we first get introduced to this rando she meets at the art studio, I was like, oh, are we meeting another love interest? Because I don't know. I just felt like
because
that.
he was nice and said that she can use art supplies.
And because
But
he's a boy and
yeah.
she is straight.
No, I know. I
That's
totally
it.
got those vibes too. But like if you think about it, it's just so silly in
Yeah.
that regard. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like I think that she's right. Like I think that she really is correct. And it is something that as a teenager in college, like it seems so like you have to decide right now. But she's right. Like she can keep her options open. That's totally fine. But once
Mhm.
again, like what I disagree with is that she probably should not get into this special seminar. But whatever, she's in this seminar, good for her.
She gets in, yeah, basically because of the speech that she gives to the professor of like,
Yeah.
I don't have to choose right now,
I
blah blah
mean,
blah.
no, like she's right. She's totally right. But also then let's have
Choose someone who
somebody
knows.
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's and yeah, I thought like the art stuff was interesting and I liked the scenes where she was um doing the art and I like
Can
that
we
she
also
like
just say, can we
yeah.
confirm, because this was something we debated in the pilot episode, I believe, of like they didn't show us the art. And so we were like, uh-oh, is she a shitty artist? Like, are we in Joey Potter territory again? I would like to say, without a doubt, she is a much better artist than Joey Potter.
Wait, but like did we see anything
Yeah, we saw
besides
her working on it. We
we
saw
saw her
her.
working on it, but we never saw any finished product.
Didn't we? Did we see when she shows some of her art to Noel? I feel like that's what we saw it,
I
right?
don't think
No?
so.
Now I'm questioning myself. I watched these episodes like twice and I can't remember. But I
My
do think that like I think she's better than Joey. Joey was not a great artist.
I mean, like, I can give her that, but like, I swear I did not see any finished product. I saw swirls. I saw
Swirls.
swirls. I
You
saw
saw
something.
swirls.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I do think that she has talent. I have something that I would like to throw out.
Okay.
Felicity should be a medical illustrator.
Is this like the books that are in medical, like the
Yeah.
drawings in medical books?
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem very fulfilling.
It marries the two so that she can
Mm,
actually make money, and then she could do whatever swirls that she wants on the side.
I feel like the art she wants to do is a little bit more. And also, the other thing I noticed about Felicity is she's not just one type of artist. Like she does everything. She paints, she does a lot of different
Yeah,
shit.
her talents are an inch deep and a mile wide, it
There you
sounds
go.
like. Which is not
she's working with charcoal, she's working with paint, she's like, I mean, she's spending all night in that studio.
The median salary for a medical illustrator / animator in the US is $83,000 to $170,000 a year.
Holy shit. All right, so by all means, please, Felicity.
Now that is not a $300K doctor's salary, but she can
No.
certainly make that money, and then on the side, like I said, do whatever fucking swirls she wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we really only get glimpses of her drawings when she's like handing them to Noel, but I still think they looked better than Joey Potter's. Okay. It's time. We have to talk about Todd Mulcahy because obviously he is like his name is the title of both episodes. He is a big figure in both of these episodes for many of the characters, surprisingly enough. And kind of really jarring Felicity into questioning what her major should be and also giving her a taste of her own medicine. So, for the background, Todd was someone that Felicity went to summer school with when he was 14 and she was 12. They had a little bit of a tryst, I guess, but they didn't even kiss. But Todd says
12 years old. Let's remember all of this and all of this. He was 12 years old. When you're 12 years old, that is literally 7th grade.
Yeah. And this man, this adult man, this probably 20-ish year old man decided that, well, Felicity and I bumped into each other over holiday break and I need to pursue it. So I'm going to fly to New York, show up at her dorm room like a fucking weirdo and just be like, hey, where's Felicity? I'm going to kiss her.
How can you get her like exact address?
Definitely, it's one of those things where it's like his parents know her parents or something.
Oh, that can make sense.
Not only is he showing up there, but he's like telling everyone, "Oh, I'm here to kiss Felicity." He helps Megan pierce her nose.
Done very poorly. Okay, hold on. This guy is played by Steve Barra, who was married to Juliette Lewis for
No kidding.
Yeah, for 4 years.
Wow.
But he is also a professional skateboarder, and apparently
he looks like a professional skateboarder.
You think so?
And maybe it's the floppy hair, but I definitely think he looks like one.
He lived with Tony Hawk.
What in the fuck?
Yeah.
This is wild. Okay.
Yeah. He is he's a Scientologist.
Oh no, that's it. Ding ding ding. We found it.
That's what it has. That's what he is.
Great.
Claims to have never drunk alcohol, smoked cigarettes, or taken any other recreational drug. Well,
wow.
Good for you, Todd Mulcahy.
Good for you. So he shows up and he runs into Megan, helps her pierce her nose. Then he meets Noel because Noel is constantly in Felicity's freaking dorm room. And he's just like, oh, I came here to kiss her. And it's just like, what? And he basically, his justification is, well, we got really close to kissing once. And what if she's basically the one that got away? Yeah. And the problem is, Sarah, is that normally in polite, modern society, you need someone else's permission to kiss them, Todd.
you would think. Yeah, Felicity to him is the what if, like what if we had worked out. And I think that is a little bit hard to live your life always having a what if. Thankfully, I don't have that, but I'm sure it would be very hard to live with yourself. And we learn eventually that he's engaged. And I guess
Oh!
before he can officially commit to his fiance, he needs to pursue Felicity.
When I found out he was engaged, Sarah, I already hated this man.
Yeah.
Because I was like, sir, you don't own Felicity. Stop stalking her. Leave her alone. She has shit to do. Then I found out he was engaged. And I was like, what is this woman doing with this man?
She loves him and she loves his eclecticness. I was pretty much like, yeah, let's like throw the whole man out, this fucker. But basically she knew that he was going to New York for Felicity, and basically she did the whole, well, you got to set him free, and if he doesn't come back then he was never yours sort of thing. So
It
she's
fucking
like,
set him free for good. Like, this pissed me off so much because like all the shit that we see Todd do for Felicity to pursue her, right? Like, first he obviously just shows up, then he like goes to the place of her employment and is like, listen, we're gonna kiss. He threatens her basically. He's like, I'm not leaving town until we fucking kiss, bitch. And then he gets her, which was very sweet. He gets her this little like license plate thing with her name on it because of like an inside joke of when they were kids, she would always look and they never had her name because Felicity's not a common name, and he had it basically made on Etsy before Etsy existed for her. But he's being a big old fucking creep. He then leaves her this giant box of like stuff you liked when you were 12, which I have news for you, Todd. She's not fucking 12 anymore.
No, she's not 12 anymore. But he did get her balloons, which I love balloons.
How do you feel about Malomars?
I mean, like, the thing with Malomars is that like they're good until you have two.
That's fair. Yeah, it's less is more with
the first one is great, and then the more you eat of them, the worse they are. Like, I mean, I think that this is like, all of these things are sweet if she wasn't in a relationship and she already told him like, no thank you.
Yeah, she already said please leave, and he's just like, I've come to New York to get that kiss, which is very menacing. Very menacing of someone to say to you.
Pretty menacing.
It also, I think I would have like, I feel like I would have been Felicity up to the point where this man is standing outside of the door when I'm taking the most important test of my college career thus far. Yeah. And he's just like holding up signs because, like, what if the professor sees and thinks you're cheating? Like, I'm just saying, like, this kid will not take a hint. He basically has her under duress to say yes to go on this like date with him. And it's truly awful. And somehow, Sarah, he not only swindles Felicity into like going on this get together with him to have a chat, but he like gets everyone on his side.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess he's like a master manipulator because like everybody at first is like, Todd Mulcahy. But the more, so we have, he fixed Noel's computer so that Noel can use Photoshop on his computer. So
how do we feel about Noel being a web design major, graphic design major?
He's a graphic design major. I mean, like, I'm fine with it. Like, I think
this makes sense to me.
Yeah, I feel nothing towards it.
Okay.
Which is good. That's a good reaction, kind of. So at first, like, of course, Noel is threatened because Noel's always threatened. But he essentially he fixes Noel's computer and then they become buddies. Then Felicity asks Ben to like, Ben offers to like basically tell him that he'll take care of it. But turns out that they're all like old skating buddies.
Yeah, he just didn't know his last name because they were little kids. Which, can I just say, the scene between Ben and Felicity, where she like admits, like, yeah, I stalked you. I need to know what it was like to be the one who's being stalked, like, was one of my favorites of both episodes because I love when she's like, well, I'm in a predicament again. He's like, who are you stalking now?
Yeah, that was so funny. That was so funny. Ben like did that line very, very well. And then I love how Sean had the follow-up was like, yes. Or wait, you're being stalked or are you the stalker? Like,
yeah, it was.
I thought that was very good. Talking about meta, as you mentioned earlier, really good. But I love the fact that, like, I mean, he was buddies with Todd, and then like he invites Todd over, and then Sean and Julie really like him because apparently Todd makes like the best chicken ever.
Makes such good chicken.
Such good chicken. That was
Yeah.
such good chicken. And I forget, does Todd have a run-in with Elena as well? Where he was like, oh, that's like he was a nice guy.
I don't think so. I don't recall them meeting.
Well, yeah, he really gets everybody on his side eventually
Except
because
Megan, because her nose is infected.
yeah, because Megan forced him to help her pierce her nose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of becomes this like kind of funny thing where like Felicity is like, I can't stand this guy. Why is everybody like so obsessed with him? So she eventually agrees to go on this date with him after Noel gives the okay. And she goes on the date and he shoots his shot for the billionth time. And she says, thank you, but no, I don't have the mental capacity for this. I have a lot going on. And I really, really like Noel. Thank you, but no. And then again, he tries to kiss her outside and she's like, thank you, but no, I do not want this. And
Call
please,
the police on this man.
I know,
Please,
I know.
somebody.
And he like starts getting like a little aggro because he's like, you're just like living your life, like you're doing what your parents want, you're becoming a doctor. I know that you want to become an artist. And she's like, you don't know me, like we haven't, it's been 7 years since we
Yeah.
spent any time together. You don't know me at all. And he's like basically saying like proclaiming like you like I might have lost the battle but I'm gonna win the war, like eventually you're gonna kiss me, I know it in my bones. And then he gets hit by a motherfucking bus and I was like, what the heck?
I know. I didn't until he stepped off the sidewalk backwards. I wasn't expecting there to be like a bus incident. Once he stepped off backwards, I was like, oh shit, this guy's about to get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
But before that, I certainly didn't think that this two-parter was going to end with this man getting pummeled by a bus. And I was like, oh shit, is he dead? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was very, very surprised by him getting hit by the bus.
Yeah, he gets it. I mean, honestly, justified, right? Like, stop stalking this woman. Leave her alone. Like, please, she doesn't want to kiss you, okay?
Yeah. You would think that like the bus would be the sign for him to let go, but like eventually when he wakes up, like thank goodness, I guess, this dickbag still wants her to kiss him.
He didn't learn anything. He didn't learn his fucking lesson. Listen, if Felicity's karma for stalking Ben is Todd being in her life, then Todd's karma for stalking Felicity is getting hit by a bus. And yet he learned fucking nothing. In fact, he's like, oh, as he's like, might fucking die. And this is Sarah, where I was like aghast that this, his fiance ends up like staying with her, whatever. Well, like, the last thing he does before he could possibly die, as he's going, like the EMTs are taking him, rushing him through the hospital, he says to Felicity, oh, my left pocket in my jeans. Because he wants to give her this note that she wrote to him when she was like 12, instead of being like, call my fiance, tell her I love her.
I know. No, okay, so this is the thing. Like, I feel like I would feel like Todd is a smidge more justified if they went to camp like when they were 16 years old and this was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact that they were 12 years old makes this so creepy.
It does. I'm sorry, but like a person can change in like a year, especially when that year is from going to high school to college. But 7 years between the ages of 12 and 19 are pivotal. You are certainly going to be a different person after those 7 years have passed. And so it's insane to me that he is still so adamant about like he knows Felicity and nobody possibly could know her better. But like, this gets into Felicity's head because she reads the note that she wrote him and she starts like digging into the little care package, right, that she sent him, and she's watching Dead Poets Society. And Noel is getting, I mean, let's face it, Noel, who liked Todd 5 seconds ago, is now in a bit of a tizzy about this because he's a little jealous baby and he can't handle that she's eating his Malomars.
That is the perfect analysis for Noel. He just gets in little tizzies.
Yeah, he always is in a tizzy about something. And oh my God, we have to talk about, don't let me forget to talk about Richard because I have shit to say. But Noel is like very bothered by this. And I find it interesting, Sarah, that Noel didn't know anything about Felicity's interest in art. Not knowing that they're now dating, like I just feel like that's something that comes up in conversation. You know what I mean?
You would think so, unless like Felicity is so disconnected from her passion of art that she just doesn't even think about it. But um gosh, like I just feel as though he should probably at least know that. Especially because like if he has graphic design and like if that's his passion, then you would think that it would get brought up
Yeah.
ever once. I don't
That's what
know.
I'm saying. Like it's something they could connect over, right? So it's really weird that, yeah, that they're not, that he's not aware of any of this, but she's having like a crisis because she's now wondering like, oh my God, is Todd right about me? Like, should I pursue art? She's really tempted. You know, she doesn't really know which way to go. She ends up spending all night in the art studio, blows off Noel, forgets they have a date, which to be okay, that's fair for Noel to be upset about that, you know, to be like wondering where the hell she is and why
Yeah.
she blew him off. That's
I mean,
fair.
she's usually very good at communication. Like I'm thinking back to Finally where she told him like, "Oh, like I'm leaving this message. I'm going to go help Ben. I will be at this location." Like typically she's very good at communication. So if I was Noel, um then I would be concerned about like where my
Yeah.
girl's at,
Yeah.
especially if they were supposed to have a date.
Exactly. And so after Todd ends up in the hospital, Felicity visits him. She brings him some stuff that he liked when he was 14. And he still won't give it up. He says, like, come on, we'll know immediately. It'll be electric. It'll bridge time between us, or it'll be nothing. And so she actually gives him a kiss, which I was like, I'm like, girl, stop. You don't need to do this. Just because he's injured, you can leave. He can't catch you now. You know, like he can't run. But as she gives him the kiss of death because he like almost fucking dies.
Well, yeah, when he starts I don't know, blinking out or whatever, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I thought he was gonna die, and I was gonna be so happy.
I was pretty shocked that she kissed him and his heart rate goes like off the wazoo, and I don't know what happened. I guess he like was I don't know. I
They
don't
said
know. I
he's
don't know.
bleeding out, like
He's
maybe he had
bleeding
internal injuries or
out?
something. Yeah. So they
How?
wheel him away, and then we're introduced to his fucking fiance, who it's like also she was in some Disney Channel original movie, I think. Like she looks so familiar to me.
Oh,
Um,
really? I don't know. I didn't recognize her.
yeah, but it's like, but the weirdest thing is that like Rebecca, who's his fiance, knows Felicity because she's just like, you know, I really love him. He's a little eccentric, but you won't find a bigger heart. And it's like, you mean he's crazy, okay, Rebecca? Like, I know we judged Felicity so hard, and I still do because let's face it, she didn't just visit like Todd's doing. She full on fucking moved. She full on made different college plans to stalk somebody, okay? But she also didn't go up to this guy and repeatedly say, "You're gonna kiss me or else," you know? Like,
No, but she did like change his paper for him. She
oh
did
god,
like show up
yeah,
at his house a billion times. She yelled at him
it's true. It's
when
all true.
he didn't go forward with like the Halloween, the couple's Halloween costume. She yelled at him when he hooked up with somebody else. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, like she was bad. Like she was really
She was really
bad.
bad. Yeah.
She did not say like you know, like you're gonna kiss me right now, but also she was assertive in her own way.
Yeah. And but this woman is just like, "Oh, I told him to like, you know, go off and then whatever, whatever." And then so then we get like that, and this is must be the moment where it clicks in Felicity's head because she sees like Rebecca getting the news that Todd's going to be okay, that he like made it through surgery, or at least he's stable for right now. And Rebecca's crying and hugging the doctor and
Okay,
gives Felicity a thumbs up.
yeah. Such a happy moment. I'm so happy for Rebecca. That fucking doctor was too intimate with his rubs. He was like rubbing, he was like one little movement away from grabbing ass. I swear
this
to
is so
God.
funny. I don't recall this, but I fully believe you. I remember him being like very stiff at first when she goes to like hug him. But I don't
No,
recall
he
that. I'm gonna
was
have to
getting
look at it.
hard by hugging her.
Oh
I'm
no.
serious. I was like, get
Brutal.
off of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she remembers that medicine is about the people. She wants to save lives. She goes back to Mr. McGrath, Dr. McGrath, excuse me, that was very rude of me. It says Dr. McGrath. I remember why I want to do medicine is because of the people, which I didn't really feel like that was like, she's like, medicine is about people. And he was like, okay, cool. Like, cool
Yeah.
story.
And I don't know that it was portrayed. I don't know. I didn't feel like the scene with Felicity seeing Rebecca get the good news was enough for me to be like, oh, this totally makes sense that she's had a change of heart. Like, I guess, but it didn't seem like that big of a deal. Okay, I'm watching the doctor now hug Rebecca. She definitely leaps on him first, and I don't think he's not
keeps
touching her
going.
butt.
No,
it?
but he's like rubbing her back like very intimately. It goes on for too long, in my opinion.
I don't know. He's doing a couple pats. I guess yeah, now we're getting into the too long territory. But yeah, so this is what makes Felicity change her mind, and then we see like Todd and Rebecca getting in this like handicap van or whatever, handicap accessible van, so that he can leave. And it's just like, why are we still entertaining this? Like, why is Rebecca still with this man? I don't
She
understand
loves
this.
him, Jessica. She
Ugh.
loves him. So basically,
And he says, you know, that kiss was pretty good.
yeah. I mean,
Sir.
I know. I
can't.
wouldn't be
really
happy
can't.
if it was me. I wouldn't be happy if it was me, but
So upsetting.
she but I love that Felicity was like, you have to go home now. Bye.
Yeah, please leave now. It's time. And now you can't say no because you're in a wheelchair and your fiance is bringing you home.
Please
Thank God.
leave
Get
my
him out of here.
presence. Yeah.
Todd freaking Mulcahy. When I read the title of the episode, I didn't think that I would hate this man this much, but here we are. Now, the one last thing we need to talk about before we wrap things up is the Richard and Noel storyline, because this is my new favorite thing. Okay. This is my new favorite thing, that Richard and Noel are always at odds with each other. And like, we have the one-sided rivalry of like Noel hating Ben, which is continuing this episode when he finds out Ben is working at Dean and DeLuca. He's like, ugh, I hate Todd. Todd got him that job. Ugh, I hate him. But I love this one-sided or this both-sided rivalry, whatever, this rivalry between Richard and Noel, where Richard has now decided he wants to install a satellite dish. And he says, well, Noel, you're the worst RA ever, and you're like sleeping with one of your advisees. And if you don't allow me to get this satellite dish, which you're supposed to like petition the board to get or something, then I am going to report you and you're the worst. And when Noel is like, I literally can't do anything. Like, my hands are tied. I don't know what you expect from me. This man who we've said has no regard for fire safety, decides to weld in his dorm room.
I feel like it's fine. Do you know how much money welders make? They are rich bitches.
Well, then why is he should be at a trade school then? Why is he here? Why is he at NYU? Like, I don't even care about Noel. Noel annoys me 90% of the time. But this is insanity where he's fucking welding. And then on top of that, he decides he's going to be a like hand model representative.
Yeah. This is phenomenal. I love that he wants to be a hand modeling agent now.
And all the women with the white gloves really did kill me. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, are you just upset because you don't think that you can be a hand model?
Oh no, you could certainly be a hand model.
Let me see your hands.
My hands are not for modeling.
Oh, they're ugly. No,
I know, they really are terrible. You don't want my hands to be models.
Maybe I want to be a hand model.
You probably could. Yeah, your nails are really nice, so I think you probably could.
These. Now I have like when you write, some people get like a little bump. Yeah. So I think that prevents me from being a hand model.
Brutal.
I can only do my left hand, but
that might be okay though.
My right hand is so much better.
Oh,
in terms of the talents that I can do.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yep.
Yeah.
I know where you're going. But I love that Noel tries to like bust up this operation. And then I love the scene where Felicity and Noel are like having a quote unquote argument. And we see Richard like with the flyer up and down because he can't decide if they're breaking up or not. That did crack me up. I know people love Richard. I still think he's the biggest fucking idiot in the entire planet. However, I love the rivalry between
He
him and
makes
Noel.
you laugh.
Well, he's an idiot. A lot of idiots make me laugh.
Yeah. I have it is like true that like a lot of schools have policies that you can't run businesses out from your dorm room
Yeah.
because Adam got into academic probation for having a business out of his dorm room.
What business?
I'm trying to remember, but his mom told me about it.
That is hilarious and makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense, honestly. That tracks.
Yeah. And then like he also got in trouble because he had too many parking tickets.
Jesus Christ. And yeah, that's pretty much our two-part episode. Those two episodes were honestly such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And really fun. I think I enjoyed pretty much every storyline to varying degrees. Like, I'm happy Elena's no longer with Blair. I think she deserves so much better. I'm happy she's getting what she wants and getting in that seminar. Felicity's keeping her options open between art and medical schools so she can kind of do what she wants. We still have the lingering thread of who Julie's mom is, but I'm sure that's like we're gonna get to that eventually.
Yeah. I really like these two episodes as well. And I'm enjoying the watching Felicity now. Like I think at first it was like a little bit of like a growing pain. I was just like, I don't know. Like I don't feel like she's very likable. I mean, I think that she is a pill, like a lot of 18-year-olds are pills.
Right. And I think I like her more now that we've seen the comeuppance. We've seen her have to deal with what the fuck she did to someone.
Yeah. I also like how we forgot to mention like Felicity was like, no matter what happens with your mom, like if it's good or bad, I'm here for you. Just let me know. I'm like a call away. Like she's being supportive and that's really good. And her and Alina are in a really good spot. Like she has like a really good group of friends forming. And I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. Should we get into some feedback that we got this week about Felicity?
Yeah.
Let's hear what Temmie had to say.
Ready, set, go. Some say that they saw her heads go all the way around. Some say they swear they saw me push her in front of the bus. Some say LL was totally hot at this time. Listen to Over by Lindsay. You have Since You've Been Gone and then Over. I think it's a nice 1-2 punch of songs from this time. You're welcome. Speaking of punches, Elena did not issue empty threats. Dawson, you make me so happy. But I have to make myself happy first. And that's the one thing you can't do for me. When Noel calls Felicity's art crazy, and then she comes back and says that he can't solve all of her problems. That's Joey and Felicity and Art sitting in a tree. KISSING. These episodes, 2 episodes, are a really nice platform for story arcs, big and small, coming forward. I think it makes sense that J.J. Abrams wrote and directed. I think at least the second episode I saw his credit. So, I mean, really big thing to monitor. I used One Tree Hill as a barometer for how many characters end up in a hospital on a show. I'm pretty sure nearly every character in that show is in the hospital. Maybe not Luke's mom and maybe some of the late season characters. But so far in Felicity, we've had a robbery and a person hit by a bus. And I'm going to watch Speed for the first time. Get some Keanu and Sandra Bullock action.
Oh,
Thanks.
Speed. Temmie brought up a scene that we didn't talk about that I think that we should because because Noel basically brings up about the art, and it basically, like, he's trying to fix her shit instead of just listen to her problems, and she, like, says, like, you can't fix all my problems, Noel. And
Mm,
Noel certainly wants to.
yeah.
Do we have any thoughts about this scene?
Um, Mostly that I think this is going to be a sign of things to come, where I think Noel is going to want to be Mr. Fix-It and play Mr. Fix-It, and I think that it's not always his place to do that. I think that's probably going to happen. Not I don't want to say often, but I think it's going to be a running theme with Noel. Is my guess. What about you?
I just feel like he is not supportive all the time of her, which
Yeah,
is a little alarming.
little bit of a red flag. Yeah. Well, we'll put a pin in that. And let's see what DBK has to say about these 2 episodes.
What up, though, ladies? Okay, a lot going on in these 2 episodes. A lot happened. So we got Ben now works at Dean and DeLuca. What do we think of this? Like, Ben asked Felicity to get him a job there. Like,
Love it.
kind of weird, right? Julie is working or was working at her mom's law firm and sent her the tape, and then finds out, even though she plays guitar and all this stuff, that's not her mom. We get underrated. Watch out for in the future or whatever. Enjoy Ben and Javier together.
Yes.
Underrated goodness. Super funny stuff throughout the show. So be on the lookout for that. We get Felicity becoming the hunted by Todd Mulcahy, showing up to kiss her. Funny stuff. Everyone loves Todd except for maybe Megan, because he gives her the nose infection. We get Elena and Felicity getting into McGrath, or at least being top 20 students for McGrath seminar, and getting into McGrath seminar. Somehow Felicity pulls it off. Who knows how she does it? Because wild that she says she wants to be an artist in the thing. Peter McGrath is some Sarah Dawn guy. I recognize him from Princess Bride, Princess Humperdinck, but apparently it's Jack Skellington from A Nightmare Before Christmas, for people that like that kind of thing. And then showing up at the very end, or the art student guy, is Simon Rex. He's in the Scary Movies. That's what I know him from. But also, I know him as rapper Dirt Nasty. Anyways, till next week, ladies.
Dirt Nasty.
Rapper named Dirt Nasty.
Dirt Nasty. Who are you?
Why is that the most notable thing? Dirt Nasty.
Dirt Nasty.
Yeah, I watched the Scary Movies a lot when I was a kid, so that I definitely, now that you said that, it stands out to me. I can't wait to see more of Javier and Ben together, honestly, because I really thought that scene was very funny between them. So,
do you think it's suspicious that Ben wants to work at Dean and DeLuca with Felicity?
I think he just wants a job and knows that she works there and has an in.
Okay.
I don't think he likes her. No.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
With Julie. Yeah, those are our 2 episodes. Just a heads up, we are recording early this week.
Very early.
Very, very early. So the only way you're going to be able to get feedback in is if you're listening to this on the day we release it on the 12th. You still have time if you're listening to it in the morning. We don't record until the evening. So send in your feedback, shit90spod@gmail.com, shit90spod.com, etc., etc.
Yeah.
We also have to give out a winner this episode. Sarah, any idea on who should be the winner of this episode, or I guess episodes? I think
I'm sorry. The only thing that I had name I want to give is Dirt Nasty.
give the point to Dirt Nasty. No, we're not doing that. Do we want to? Last time we separated out the points. How do you want to do this? Do you want to separate them out again? So give one for part 1 and one for part 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Give out 2 points.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to give Elena a point for punching Blair because she threatened to kick Smass and she did kick Smass.
I hate violence, though.
He deserved it, though.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. Yeah. I mean, sure. I don't care.
Okay. Who do we want to give the point to in Todd Mulcahy Part 2? It's a tough one.
Everyone's a loser.
I mean, I don't know. Ben got a job and he had a fun time with Javier. We can
Was
give
that in
Javier a
episode
point.
1 or episode 2?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Yeah, give it to Ben.
Give it to Ben. Good old Ben. He has a
Ben.
job, he gets a point, and he rejects the terrible cereal idea. So
Yeah.
easy enough.
I think that was episode 1.
Well, then
Can we
Elena
switch it? Because
Yeah.
I'm happy that Elena got in her own merit.
Oh, then yeah, let's do that.
On episode 2.
Okay, so Ben gets for part 1.
And she didn't talk to Blair in episode 2. So I'm glad that she got rid of him.
She's moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then would you like to hear the episode title for next week's episode?
Yeah.
Love and Marriage.
Love and Marriage.
So
yeah.
Who's getting married?
That's perfect for Valentine's Day.
Wow, look at us.
What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Absolutely nothing, probably.
You hate love and you're and you're married. How dare you?
These are all true statements. What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Well, this weekend we're going to Indiana and I'm going to go get my hair done and
Exciting.
We're going to go to a IU basketball game. So we got a weekend of plans. That's why we have to record early this week.
Exciting. Yeah. So don't forget to send in your feedback. Of course, we also have Buffy Thursdays. We're releasing new podcasts about Buffy the Vampire Slayer every Thursday. And it is rom-com Feb, frisky Feb, whatever suits your fancy. We released the Wedding Singer podcast with our guest MJC. And coming up, we're going to be covering Never Been Kissed for the month of Drew Barrymore love, I guess. Anything else, Sarah, you have to say about this before we wrap things up today?
No, but thank you for everybody to listen.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back very soon with Love and Marriage. So stay tuned. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.